recording this January 2nd, which is the first day of the only transfer portal window that is open this year. It runs January 2nd through the 16th. The players who are still in action in the championship game, the players get an additional 5-day period following the final postseason game, which certainly creates some wrinkles of its own. So, Coach, right now, here we are. This is where we're recording this. This is the opening day of the transfer portal. What is going on at a typical university in the football offices, like literally right now?
You know, I don't know. That's why I got up this morning and I called 3 people, two of them used to work for me, and I just wanted to know. I said, so tell me what happens, because in my career I never had the transfer portal, but it's like probably the most Googled word on the internet right now. And here's what happens. All 3 agreed. So today, a lot of players, there's certain schools that have rules that agents aren't to be walking around your facility. Agents are all over the place. And the thing that is amazing to me
are all over the place
is that a lot of them aren't really agents, Mark.
Yeah.
You know, the NFL, you got to be certified.
You have to be certified.
You got to be, you know, they're real agents. You know,
Yes.
A lot of these guys are uncles and peoples that shouldn't be making decisions.
Who aren't certified agents.
Right. So I'll give you an example that the head coach is going to start meeting probably now, or has already started meeting, and he'll meet with someone. Compared it to what I used to do at the end of spring practice. I met with every player on the team, and that took a whole week, Mark, because I wanted to sit and visit with every player, and he'll be there all day. And
Coach, remember, 6 teams played yesterday.
And you imagine getting your face kicked in or losing a game and sitting there have to meet with agents and players about, am I getting the ball enough? What are you paying me? I need more. That'd be really hard for myself or many people to deal with it. You know, how you deal with that? So like anything, I guess there's some real positives, Mark. You get some really quality people with quality people and players that should be compensated. And then you got the other end of the spectrum, which is nonsense, absolute nonsense, where they're just throwing numbers at you that aren't true and making demands that, you know, so, and there's a lot in between. So there's the great situations, really quality players, really quality people representing them, and you have your negotiations. And then you got in the middle a lot of stuff, and then at the bottom you have just nonsense that you're dealing with a lot of non-truths and, you know, numbers being thrown and demands being made, which is, you know, really hard. Especially, can you imagine being one of those final teams dealing with this? And you are.
You are.
You know, I saw right after Ohio State lost the game, I think 2 or 3 players came out and said, I'm leaving. You're like, what?
Yeah.
But it's all, you have to adapt and move on.
Adapt or die.
Yeah, you talk about the portal, Coach. I had one of my good friends who I play with. His name's Chris Rogers, who is a certified NFL agent, and he's on the line doing NIL. I heard my first NIL deal get not closed, but kind of agreed upon. We're sitting here watching the game. He has one of these GMs from, I'm not going to say any names, but GMs from a certain school call. He's like, yeah, I got my guy. He was like, man, the low end, I'm hearing 480. The high end, I'm hearing like 750. He was like, man, I'm not a high-end guy. The GM said this. I'm not a high-end guy. Chris was like, man, let's agree on 500 and an incentive package, and we can get this job. He said, yeah, let's agree on that. So he calls his people. He's like, yo, I got the 500 base, got an incentive package. He's gonna be a day 2 guy on a visit. Like, you know, because they got the first day visits, the day 2 visits, the day 3 visits on when the portal opens. So some guys are on campus right now, day 1. Other guys it'll be a new batch of guys on campus tomorrow, day 2. It'll be a new batch of guys.
Day 1 guys are like day 1 guys like on the top of the list?
I think
like
everyone
you're
goes
day 1, like kind of like the NFL draft. If you're a day 1 guy, a day 2, day 3 guy.
I don't know exactly.
I don't know either.
But
yeah,
I'm assuming if I'm a guy in the portal, I'm going to the person who's giving me the best deal on the first day.
I know. I want to be a day 1 guy because
Right.
I want to be there before that money dries up.
Right.
Now, are they visiting, Mark?
Yes, they're visiting. So you said you talk to their guys that are on campus. They're visiting the school and negotiate and do whatever. And it might get done today. And if it doesn't, they're going to their day 2 visit tomorrow. And then,
Interesting.
so like, I'm learning too, but I had him here and I was kind of asking, and this is the information that I got. I'm like, this is
Yeah.
kind of
There-
crazy. What's going
there's
on
this
right now?
there's a story out there. This Oklahoma State offensive lineman, he narrowed his list of schools that he's going to visit, and one of them was Oklahoma State, right? And I'm reading that and I'm cracking up, and I'm like, wait, bro, you're already there, and you're scheduling a visit there. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm actually really good with it, because that is guaranteeing him time. And again, it's a new coaching staff at Oklahoma State, right? To say, okay, tell me about this Oklahoma State program that I've been at for the last whatever days or years or months. But that's the brave new world we live in, right? That you have to schedule visits to the school you're already at.
Yep.
Hit pause and think about that for a second.
I'm
Man,
hitting pause all over the place, man.
But
Like,
just
gosh.
like you,
thinking of
yeah,
what
just
that's
like you
like
But
see
you
these
don't have
guys,
time to hit
office.
pause because the portal's open and you got to
Yeah.
fly. You got to
just
go.
like these guys announcing they're going back to the school they're already at.
We were
Like,
seeing that.
I'm
that was
back to
cracking us
USC
up.
Trojans again.
Yeah, USC had a couple of those, right? Recommitted. I'm like, recommitted. Okay.
So all 4 quarterbacks are transfer guys, right? Playing for the
Where?
national title. Trinidad
Yeah,
Chambliss.
Trinidad Chambliss was
They
D2
found him.
last year.
Yep.
And he may be somewhere else next season too, by the way.
He might be at LSU, huh? He might be with the Lane train.
Yep.
And Mendoza from Cal. Carson Beck from Georgia. And Moore went from UCLA, if I remember right.
Yes, Dante. He sat
Yep.
last year at Oregon,
He
though.
sat
So he
behind
was.
Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, you're right, coach. And
My
guess what?
goodness.
There's a lot of smart head coaches
Yeah.
and GMs
Mendoza
across,
from Cal.
across the nation are saying, wait a second, and that's what we need to do, right? Rather than recruit your kid and have him sit for a couple years and play, it's we got to go in the portal and you're our new quarterback. No, you're our new quarterback. And
I'm all for the portal. I like that kids can make money off their likeness. But listen, one thing that the people aren't talking about that it is hurting, coach, is the high school senior.
yes,
Sure.
You're not getting as many young freshmen on scholarship because they want to take a guy who had played Division I football at a different school.
you
the
want
year before.
experience. Experience wins national
Yes.
titles.
But for me, having a son who is a young athlete, I'm like, this is hurting, probably. I wonder what that impact is. What the number of true freshmen coming in had been prior to transfer portal, and what the number of true freshmen is
I've
right
asked
now.
that question. No one's given me that answer. I've asked that question.
It's definitely less, 100%.
Yeah, because I've talked to high school coaches, and they say the traffic is minimal. And I've talked to a lot of coaches, whether it be Bowling Green, UNLV, and they save a bunch of scholarships that normally would go to that high school player, and they're saving it purely for transfer portal. That's it. And so that would, just multiply by that by however many schools, and that's how many fewer high school athletes are getting scholarships. So I agree with you, Mark.